I want to start by saying a big thank you for all the kind words and support that so many of you have shown me during my recent battle with Bell's palsy. The good news is that I've recovered quite a bit, probably around 80%. With another week or so of healing, I think I'll be back to normal. For those of you who've been following the channel for a while, you know this is my second experience with Bell's palsy. The first time was back in August of 2021, and I still managed to keep making videos. That time it affected the right side of my face, and while I had trouble pronouncing certain words, especially anything with a hard P like a perspicacity or perpendicular, everyday words like that, I could still push through and get the content out there. This time around, it affected the left side of my face, and it was a bit tougher. I had started working on the Hurricane Carter video, but had to stop midway through the narration because the words just weren't coming out right. And for those of you who may not know, Bell's palsy is a rough experience. It's not something I'd wish on anyone, even the worst trolls on this channel. It paralyzes one side of your face, so you lose control over half your facial muscles. You try to move your lips, your eyes, and nothing happens. I also want to thank everyone who offered advice. One subscriber suggested standing under a hot shower to let the water work its magic. I found that what worked best for me, both this time and back in 2021, was applying Bengay to the affected side of my face. I believed it improved blood circulation, and when I went for my morning runs, I could feel the nerves twitching like they were trying to come back to life after a few days. So if you ever experience Bell's palsy or have a loved one experiencing it, applying Bengay and going for a long run or doing some other exercise to break a sweat might actually help. But thankfully, I'm on the mend, so it's time to get back into the groove and continue these discussions about the fight game. And starting with last night's fight card. The card started with Ben Whitaker versus Liam Cameron. Whitaker was the A side, but didn't leave much of an impression. Sometimes I watch these fights and hear my dad's voice in my head, and if he were watching that fight, he'd say, this guy doesn't want to fight. It felt like Whitaker didn't want to be in there. He's got a flashy highlight reel where he looks like he was inspired by Emmanuel Augustus, but he lacks the drunken master's fire. This fight took a strange turn when both boxers tumbled over the top rope and crashed outside the ring. It seemed like Whitaker took the fall as an opportunity to bow out of the contest, claiming an ankle injury. Well, I've seen Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair take far worse falls than that. And again, I got the impression that Whitaker was looking for an out and got out of there when he could. Next on the card was Skye Nicholson defending her WBC featherweight title against the UK's Raven Chapman. It's good to see Nicholson gaining some exposure. She's attractive, and during the face-off build-up episode, I found her charming and likable. Her looks have definitely helped her career and gain a fan base. I showed a picture of her to one of my friends who is really into hot female MMA fighters, and his reaction was, damn, she's a boxer? But Nicholson showed her skill in this fight, controlling the action by using her legs to move in and out of range, while Chapman struggled to close the distance. Chapman appeared to have some pop in her punches despite her low knockout ratio, but she lacked the experience needed to crowd Nicholson and apply the kind of pressure necessary to win. She looked like a fighter who didn't quite know which levers to pull, while Nicholson calmly picked her apart with her southpaw jab and used her right hook to create space when needed. Now, with only 11 pro fights under her belt, Nicholson is one of those champions who is a work in progress. And it'll be interesting to see how her career is managed and moving forward. Female boxing can be a toxic landscape, and she'll need to steer clear of certain fighters in and around her weight class, who I suspect may be using PEDs. I won't name names, but some fighters just have that telltale look, and there's just no way they're not on something. So hopefully her management team continues to make smart matchups so she can progress in her career. Next up was the rematch between British heavyweights Fabio Wardley and Fraser Clark. Their first fight ended in a draw, and I hadn't seen much of either fighter before, so I wasn't sure what to expect. While the first bout went the distance, this rematch was over in just 2.5 minutes. Wardley landed a devastating right hand that rocked Clark, then unleashed a barrage of punches that left Clark with a noticeable dent on the side of his head. It was a quick and brutal finish, and honestly, how can anyone not be impressed by Wardley? His speed and power are undeniable. After hurting Clark with that overhand right, he smartly targeted the body before finishing him up top. His killer instinct was on full display. He literally rearranged Clark's face. Wardley is clearly a rising force in the heavyweight division, a weight class that needs some fresh faces. Now, I took a break during Chris Eubank Jr.'s fight and just skimmed through it to get the predictable result. I had no real interest in this bout. Eubank Jr. is just biding his time till he can secure a fight against Conor Benn. After that was Jai Opetaia defending his cruiserweight crown against Jack Massey. This was another predictable fight, but one worth watching because of Opetaia. Opetaia seems to be one of those fighters that only the hardcore fans know about, but he's got all the tools, speed, power, ring IQ, and a rhythm that's tough to time. Looks like he's aiming to unify the cruiserweight division, but I'd much rather see him move up to the heavyweight and shake things up there. The cruiserweight division is the most barren landscape in boxing, and I'm not too interested in seeing him unify against the winner of Zurdo Ramirez and Billum Smith. But I get it. If he unifies, it helps his marketability if he wants to move up. Now for the main event. This was one of those fights I was really looking forward to because I didn't have a strong prediction either way. Initially, I thought Beterbiev looked a bit gaunt and overtrained in the lead-up, and I wondered if Father Time might finally catch up with him. On the other side, Bivol was reportedly going through a bitter divorce, which had to be affecting him as well. Turned out to be a really good tactical battle. I had Bivol winning the first 4 rounds, though one of those rounds was a swing round. I loved Bivol's jab, his crisp 1-2 combinations, and there were moments where he set his feet and cranked up a solid left hook. I was surprised he stood his ground, but eventually Beterbiev forced him to go on his bicycle. Beterbiev came back strong, taking the next 4 rounds in my eyes with another swing round. There wasn't much separating the two fighters. After round 5, it was a classic bull versus matador dynamic. I gave Beterbiev the final 3 rounds, which led to my scorecard of 115-113 in his favor. That said, there were at least 2 swing rounds where I could see someone scoring it for Bivol. I think the turning point was in the 11th round when Beterbiev launched an extended attack, forcing Bivol to cover up for long stretches in the round. I think those moments in rounds 11 and 12 sealed the victory for Beterbiev in my eyes. He upped the tempo and pushed Bivol into a temporary survival mode. So I don't think it was a robbery. I thought Beterbiev edged it out. I'm not sure where Beterbiev ranks historically just yet, but he could be in the top 10 of the greatest light heavyweights of all time. Both of these guys are part of that discussion, and certainly the best of this era. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the card. Let me know what you think. I'm getting back into the swing of things here, so expect some historical fight breakdowns during the week, and hopefully I'll have some feature-length documentary-style videos ready by Friday. So thanks for watching.